The mysterious story surrounding the death of Hollywood legend Gene Hackman and his wife, Betsy Arakawa, has shocked the public. Will the truth ever be revealed? Gene Hackman's daughter, Leslie Hackman, was forced to face intense questioning in court, where she had to confess things that had never been disclosed before. What did she know about her father's condition? And are there dark secrets hidden behind the deaths of the two? If you want to learn more about the chilling mystery surrounding Gene Hackman and his wife's deaths, don't miss any important details. Be sure to like, share this video, and subscribe to the channel for the latest updates on this case. The tense atmosphere hung over the courtroom as all eyes turned to Leslie Hackman, the daughter of Hollywood legend Gene Hackman. She stood there, her face determined but her eyes filled with tension, facing unanswered questions about her father, his final months, and the truth the world had been waiting for. Did she truly know nothing? Or had she been deliberately hiding something all along? In the courtroom's silence, a shocking truth about the deaths of Gene Hackman and his wife, Betsy Arakawa, began to unfold. Their deaths were no coincidence, and suspicions about Leslie Hackman concealing the truth, along with evidence buried in Santa Fe, sparked a story without an end. A story that was just beginning. Previously, Leslie had always claimed to have a close relationship with her father, stating that he still called her and they talked every week. She also shared in interviews that her father remained sharp, still discussing the books he had read and the classic films he loved. These statements reassured the public, painting a picture of Gene Hackman, the strong and principled man on screen, still maintaining his sharp mind in his private life. However, this perfect image began to crack when a shocking truth was revealed. Leslie had not seen her father for months before he passed away. Evidence gathered from phone records, documents, and testimonies from those close to Hackman showed that in the nearly year leading up to his death, he had very little contact with his daughter. The calls Leslie mentioned appeared never to have occurred. So was her claim the truth, or just a carefully staged performance to deceive the public? As investigators began to scrutinize the details of Gene Hackman's life in his final days, a strange truth emerged. He had not left his home for months, and neighbors living nearby rarely saw him outside. This starkly contrasted with the image Leslie, his daughter, had painted of her father. If you find this story intriguing and want to learn more about the surprising details, don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you don't miss any videos in this exploration series. Be sure to comment below the video to share your thoughts, and let us know what you think about Gene Hackman's daughter's testimony. We look forward to joining you on the journey to uncover the truth. According to Leslie, Gene Hackman remained a healthy and sharp man until his final days. This description wasn't just a simple statement, but evoked the image of a father still strong enough to enjoy life, albeit perhaps in a private and secluded manner. So why is there such a stark difference between Leslie's account and the reality that investigators uncovered? If Leslie truly had a close and intimate relationship with her father, why didn't she notice this discrepancy? Why didn't she recognize the signs that her father had been completely isolated from the outside world for such an extended period? There are several possibilities that could explain this discrepancy. One possibility is that Leslie may not have been fully aware of her father's level of privacy. It's possible that her visits or contact with him were infrequent or not deep enough to notice that he was living in complete isolation. A person can still appear healthy and sharp in brief conversations, but the reality of complete isolation could be hidden. Another possibility is that Leslie might have had a different perspective on her father's health and sharpness. For her, the fact that her father could still converse, recognize her, and maintain clarity might have been enough for her to conclude that he was still well. She may not have seen the lack of physical activity, or the fact that he never left the house as concerning signs, especially if her father had always been someone who preferred a private, homebound lifestyle. There could also be more complex factors at play in the family dynamic. It's possible that Gene Hackman and his wife, Betsy Arakawa, deliberately hid his true condition from Leslie. They may have wanted to protect her from worry, or simply not wanted her to interfere with their private lives. On the other hand, it's also possible that Betsy Arakawa didn't recognize or didn't share with Leslie the extent of this isolation. In the midst of the ambiguity surrounding the investigators' findings on Gene Hackman's death, Leslie Hackman immediately spoke to the press and suggested that her father's death was caused by a gas leak in the house. If this theory were true, it would provide a specific and verifiable explanation for the sudden death of a man who, according to Leslie, was still healthy and sharp. It could also explain why someone who had not left the house for months suddenly passed away in that very home. However, the gas leak theory was completely dismissed by the police, which raised many questions, such as what motivated Leslie to put forward this theory. Was it a personal assumption based on her observations, or was she concealing the truth behind it? Because according to the investigation records presented to Leslie Hackman, the truth was entirely different. What was written in the records left Leslie unable to believe what she was reading. Her father, the strong man she had always admired, had suffered from severe Alzheimer's. He had experienced several heart attacks in the past, something she had never heard of, never imagined, and most importantly, had publicly denied. But now the undeniable evidence was surrounding her. From the very beginning, Leslie had insisted that her father was completely healthy, alert, and showing no signs of illness. She told the press that he still read books and could drive, but the medical reports painted an entirely different picture. According to the findings, Hackman had been suffering from late-stage Alzheimer's for at least 2 years before his death. The signs of memory decline were not new to those close to him. He had forgotten the names of old friends, and even struggled to find his way home, despite living there for over a decade. Some former house staff revealed that Hackman sometimes failed to recognize his wife, Betsy Arakawa. But the most concerning aspect was his cardiovascular condition. The investigation report confirmed that Hackman had suffered multiple heart attacks in the past, but this information had never been made public. One of his treating doctors left a note in his medical records, documenting the history of heart attacks and signs of severe coronary artery disease. What remains unclear is why the family chose to keep his true health status a secret. Reports indicate that his health had deteriorated in the years leading up to his death in 2025. Close friends mentioned that he had become weaker, with increasing difficulty moving, although he remained mentally sharp. When Hackman and his wife were found dead in their home in February 2025, many speculated whether his cardiovascular condition had played a role in his death. Data from his pacemaker confirmed that his heart stopped beating on February 17th, but the cause of death remains unclear. Some experts theorize that his wife, in shock after finding him unresponsive, may have died from heart failure due to stress. Despite facing numerous health challenges, he lived a long and fulfilling life, choosing to spend his final years in peace, away from the Hollywood spotlight. His legacy as an actor remains intact, but it is his resilience in dealing with health issues that is truly admirable. With the surprising discoveries in the ongoing investigation, it seems we may have only scratched the surface of a larger mystery. Were Hackman and his wife truly victims of an unforeseen accident? Or is there something strange and unexplained that the FBI is gradually uncovering? This story will undoubtedly continue to capture public attention and spark debate in the coming months as more details are revealed. If Hackman was truly that frail, why was Leslie completely unaware? As soon as this information was revealed, the media immediately began questioning the authenticity of Leslie's previous claims. A woman who consistently insisted on having a close relationship with her father should have been well aware of his health condition. Yet strangely, she seemed to know nothing about Hackman's illness, or rather, she didn't want to know. Some journalists hypothesized that Leslie lived too far away from her father in his final years to recognize the signs of illness. However, a source from the hospital revealed that throughout Hackman's treatment, Leslie never once visited her father. This raised even more questions about the true nature of Leslie's relationship with her father. Why did Leslie paint such a different picture of him? Clearly, there is much that has yet to be revealed, and one theory is becoming increasingly apparent. Perhaps Leslie wasn't the only one trying to hide the truth. According to some sources, Betsy Arakawa, Gene Hackman's wife, had complete control over information regarding his health. She was the only one who took care of him in his final years, and also decided who could contact Hackman and who could not. This has led to speculation that Leslie might not be lying, but simply unaware of the truth because she was never truly by her father's side during that time. However, this raises a bigger question. Why was Gene Hackman so isolated that even his daughter was completely unaware of his condition? As this information spread widely in the media, a strong wave of controversy erupted. Questions were raised about whether Leslie truly loved her father or if she was just trying to protect the family's reputation. Some argued that this could be a typical case of family members of celebrities trying to protect the image of their loved one to the point of denying painful truths. Gene Hackman's fan community became divided into two factions. One side believes that Leslie didn't know about her father's health condition because Betsy, Hackman's wife, deliberately kept the information hidden. However, others suspect that Leslie may have purposely ignored the truth because she didn't want to face the image of a Gene Hackman no longer as strong as he once was. Did Leslie truly not recognize her father's deteriorating health? Or was she trying to conceal his decline? The clear medical evidence contradicts Leslie's claims about Gene Hackman's mental sharpness. Is there a secret being hidden about the health of this Hollywood legend? Regardless of the final outcome, one thing is undeniable. Gene Hackman, the film legend, was no longer the man he once was in the final years of his life. He was no longer the strong, sharp man the public had once adored. While the outside world continued to believe that he was fine, he had to fight alone against a cruel disease, isolated in his own home. Leslie's suspicious actions have only fueled further doubts about her claim that she was unaware of her father's health condition. It is clear that she was aware of the situation through reliable sources, such as conversations with family members. She knew well that her father had not left the house for an extended period. Her strange behavior, such as avoiding contact with the police to the point of being served a subpoena, has only increased public skepticism. A notable detail is that Leslie only appeared after everything had ended. She was not present during Hackman's final days, nor did she participate in caring for him during that difficult period. This has led close acquaintances to question the close relationship she had previously portrayed with her father, when in reality, she had not seen him for an extended period. A former friend of Gene Hackman, a director who had worked with him, commented that Gene was not the type to hide his health issues. In fact, he had openly shared his health problems with the media in the past. So why was his daughter unaware of her father's condition? Could there be a secret that she is unwilling to reveal? Another notable point is that immediately after her father's sudden death, Leslie requested to manage all of Jean's assets without informing any other family members about her decision. This became even more controversial, as Gene Hackman was always very private about his personal finances and had never left clear instructions for family members. Leslie even refused to share information about the estate with relatives, leading them to suspect that she was trying to keep Gene Hackman's vast fortune all to herself. Although Gene Hackman had openly shared his intentions regarding the distribution of his estate before his death, Leslie made a noticeable request to alter the will. She asked for adjustments to the portion of the estate that Hackman had planned to leave to other family members, while also adding the names of individuals who were not close to him to the list of heirs. The reason behind this was that the portion Hackman left to Leslie was not large enough, prompting her to cause a stir and request a redistribution of assets in order to secure a larger share for herself. After Jean's death, Leslie continued to attract public attention when she was spotted dining at an upscale restaurant with her sister, Elizabeth. What surprised everyone was that throughout the meal, Leslie smiled brightly and showed no signs of sadness or mourning over the significant loss. While everyone copes with grief in their own way, Leslie's behavior in this situation left many feeling confused and perplexed. While everyone expected her to take time to reflect and share her sorrow with family, she appeared calm, even cheerful. She chatted comfortably with her sister, laughed, and talked about everyday matters, which only fueled doubts about her true emotions. Many people who witnessed this scene began to doubt the sincerity of Leslie's emotions towards her father. They questioned whether she was trying to hide her true feelings or simply didn't feel deeply saddened by Gene Hackman's death. This became even more notable when compared to the reactions of other family members who were more reserved and less publicly expressive of their emotions. As the case continued, two main theories began to emerge. The first, a concerning theory, suggested that Leslie was fully aware of her father's health condition, but deliberately kept it hidden. She might have felt guilty for not being by his side in his final months. Or there could be another reason preventing her from revealing the truth. Gene Hackman's death remains shrouded in mystery, and her statements in court are just the beginning of a complex search for the truth. The second, stranger theory began to emerge as the story progressed. Could something have happened in Gene Hackman's final months that Leslie is trying to protect, hiding a secret? Everything surrounding the death of this Hollywood legend remains unclear, and the details surrounding Leslie's actions continue to raise numerous questions from the public and the family. One big question still remains unanswered. If Hackman was truly as healthy and sharp as Leslie claimed, why did he completely withdraw from the world? Why was no one other than Betsy Arakawa able to confirm his actual condition? And most importantly, why does Leslie seem so nervous and evasive when asked about her father's final months? This story clearly has many untold aspects, but one thing is certain. Leslie won't be able to hide the truth forever. When forensic investigators conducted the autopsies of Gene Hackman and Betsy Arakawa, the initial theories surrounding their deaths were quickly called into question. At first, police believed Hackman might have died due to old age and the final stages of Alzheimer's disease. But the circumstances surrounding Arakawa's death added complexity to the situation. She passed away suddenly, with no signs of struggle or external injury, only a frail body and a shattered bottle of pills on the floor. However, when the autopsy results were released, chilling details began to emerge, making everything more terrifying and harder to explain than ever before. The initial conclusion indicated that Gene Hackman died from a heart attack. Alzheimer's disease had weakened his body, causing his cardiovascular condition to deteriorate, and when no one was around, he passed away quietly without any signs of external force. Hackman died alone, sitting in a chair in the mudroom, possibly from exhaustion or a sudden heart attack. However, the most haunting aspect wasn't his death itself, but the absolute loneliness he had to endure in his final months, with no one there to care for or comfort him. When forensic experts examined Betsy Arakawa's body, they discovered a shocking detail. She had contracted a dangerous virus that can cause severe respiratory failure and weaken the internal organs. This virus is typically transmitted through contact with the feces, urine, or saliva of infected rodents, or by inhaling dust particles from rodent feces dispersed in the air. It can also be transmitted through contaminated food and drink, raising further suspicions about the cause of her death. What's terrifying is that this virus can develop in the human body without showing clear symptoms for many days, meaning Betsy could have been infected long before the illness fully manifested on her final day. The symptoms of the virus include a sudden high fever, severe difficulty breathing, muscle pain, prolonged fatigue, and rapid respiratory failure. When forensic investigators examined the living conditions in the house, they found numerous signs of rodents, which could have been the source of Arakawa's infection. However, the biggest unanswered question remains. When did she get infected? And more importantly, was this virus truly the primary cause of her death, or just a contributing factor in her tragic demise? Not only were Hackman and Arakawa affected, but even their 3 dogs were not spared from the impact. One dog died before the police arrived, with the cause still unclear. The remaining 2 dogs survived, but their health had significantly deteriorated, showing signs of dehydration and malnutrition. Veterinarians concluded that all 3 dogs exhibited signs of respiratory infections, possibly caused by an airborne virus in the house. However, the big question remains. How could such a luxurious mansion, always kept clean, become the ideal environment for a dangerous virus to develop and spread? As the FBI and the investigative team continued their search of the house, they discovered something unusual. The basement seemed to be absent from the original floor plan of the house. A police officer happened to spot an old wooden door in this area, a door that didn't appear in any construction documents. When they opened the door, a dark tunnel suddenly appeared before them. The air grew heavy and tense. What awaited them inside? With flashlights in hand, they began descending the stairs, each step making the space feel quieter. As the light reached the final wall of the tunnel, the group froze, their eyes locked on the scene before them. The investigators quickly noticed several details that couldn't be ignored. Hackman and his wife Betsy seemed to have been isolated in a strange way. Why would a couple with so many connections in Hollywood suddenly disappear from the public eye in their final months? Neighbors reported that they hadn't seen anyone come in or out of the Hackman house for weeks, which was in stark contrast to his previous habits. Hackman had often engaged in conversations with neighbors, but in recent months, he seemed to have vanished from the world. As the case heats up more than ever, Leslie, Hackman's only daughter, is forced to testify in court. She never imagined that one day she would have to answer questions about the mysterious death of her father. As the daughter of a legend, Leslie always portrayed a close relationship with her father. But the biggest question still remains unanswered. Did she truly not know about Hackman's condition, or is she hiding a shocking truth? And if she knows more than she's letting on, could her testimony change the entire case? With the newly revealed investigation documents, legal experts began to put forward a bold hypothesis. Leslie Hackman and her testimony could be the most crucial key to uncovering the truth behind the case. According to sources from the Santa Fe Police Department, Leslie had not seen her father in months, a significant period of time, especially considering his health condition. So how could she claim that Hackman was still healthy before his death? If Leslie truly didn't know about her father's late-stage Alzheimer's and serious heart condition, that would be a surprising neglect. And if she knew but still denied it, that would be a major shock, potentially opening up a new investigation into the deaths of Hackman and Arakawa. Hackman always kept his personal life private, especially when it came to his children, during interviews. In 1989, he shared with film critic John C. Tibbets that audiences felt close to him because he presented himself as an ordinary man, explaining, "I want to keep my personal life simple, so that when I'm in front of the art, I can let go and immerse myself in it." During an appearance on Larry King Live, Hackman reminisced about the early days of his career. When Larry King asked him about his transition from an obscure career to widespread success, Hackman admitted, "Honestly, I didn't handle it very well. I took care of my family, made sure they lacked for nothing, but I was too fascinated by Hollywood, its mystique. Even though I never really became part of it, I still felt fascinated because I was a part of it, and the feeling that I could be anyone and do anything I wanted." Hackman and Maltese welcomed their first child, son Christopher Allen Hackman, in 1960. In February 1984, Hackman sat down with journalist Lita Powell Drake for an interview about the film Misunderstood. When asked about his relationship with his son as Christopher had grown older, Hackman expressed that even though his son was in his 20s, they still maintained a close bond, and he felt grateful that he could still hug his son as he did when he was younger. Hackman shared that he never imagined that he and his son would reach a point where they would have to change how they expressed affection, where instead of hugging, they would be shaking hands. He believed that one of the biggest challenges in the films he worked on was confronting the coldness of not being aware of and lacking sensitivity to a child's need for affection and embrace from a father. In an interview in 2011, Hackman spoke about his experience as a father. When asked about the advice he had given to his son, Hackman admitted that his absence during the crucial years of his son's life had made it difficult for him to offer much guidance. Being frequently away on film shoots, while his son needed support and guidance, made it challenging for Hackman to come home and suddenly start giving orders to his son. Looking back on his journey as a writer, Hackman shared the early career aspirations of his son in an interview with Empire magazine in January 2020. He recalled that his son once dreamed of becoming an actor and was in New York, where Hackman wrote small monologues for him. His son was very excited about what he was doing and began exploring his creative passion as ideas continuously popped into his head, and he would write them down. Hackman made rare comments about his children in an interview with Irish Independent in August 2000, noting that they had helped him decide to continue acting rather than pursue a career behind the camera. After securing the rights to Silence of the Lambs, he had planned to make his directorial debut, but ultimately declined the opportunity, a decision he said he had no regrets about. He shared, "I didn't give it a second thought," and added, "My children helped me see that it wasn't the best thing for me." He also acknowledged that being the child of a famous person was difficult, adding, "I couldn't always be home with them as they grew up and lived in California. My success always weighed heavily on them." Despite having a complicated relationship with his father, Hackman's children loved him deeply and were shocked when they heard the news of his tragic death. Gene Hackman was once one of Hollywood's greatest icons, but in the final years of his life, he passed away in an eerie silence. Betsy Arakawa, a healthy woman, died from a rare disease. Leslie Hackman is the only one who could shed light on what really happened, but she seemed unaware of her father's condition. All these factors raise a big question. Are these just random events? Or is this a carefully orchestrated drama? For Leslie Hackman, the tragedy of losing both her father and stepmother is not only a personal loss, but also a scar that will never fade. The public is asking questions, the family is under pressure, and the media never lets go. Thank you all for watching until the end of the video. The case of Gene Hackman and Betsy Arakawa is still full of unanswered questions. Will the truth ever be revealed? And will we ever understand the secrets that the Hackman family has hidden? Stories like this always make us think and ask big questions about what's going on behind the spotlight. Be sure to stay tuned to our channel so you don't miss any updates on this case and other mysterious cases. Don't forget to like and subscribe because the truth can always surprise us at any moment. Thank you, and we'll see you in the next video.